Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Swarna Ma'am's Biology. In this video, I will be explaining you about the neural control and coordination. So let us start. So when we are discussing about the neural control and coordination, we will be observing the coordination between the different organs of our body in different situations. Means all the actions which we are doing, it may be talking, it may be playing, or it may be listening, everything. So we will be observing the coordination between the different organs which are present in our body. So when we see or when we touch a hot plate, what we will do? Immediately we will take our hand out. So if we observe this action, so there is involvement of different organs present in our body. So the eyes are seeing, there is fire, and even our skin is feeling the heatness of the object, and the nerves from the skin are carrying the impulses from the hand to the brain. Again, it is sending the response from the brain to a particular organ, that is here hand, to do some particular action. Here what we are doing means what is happening here, the person is removing the hand. So if we observe each and every action, there is involvement of different organs. Here there is involvement of the nerves of the eyes, there is involvement of the brain to send the response what to do, and there is involvement of the nerves and even the muscles of the hand to do the responsive action. So here we are observing the coordination or the linkage between the different organs present in our body. Okay. So this is observed in different actions. When we play, what happens? There is also coordination. We can observe the coordination between the different organs. Our eyes, we have to say, means our eyes have to see, and our legs have to run. Without our knowledge, so many other things will be happening. We will be, means our heart beat faster, and even our lungs respire more, means there is increased in the respiratory rate. So here also, even in every action which we do, there is the coordination between the different organs present in our body. Okay, so here in this video, what are the main learning objectives we will see. So first we will be discussing about the neural system, that is human neural system. Then we will be discussing about the neuron, which is the main structural and the functional unit. We will be discussing about the central nervous system. And maybe in the next video, I will be explaining about the reflex action in the reflex arc and sensory reception and processing, etc. So these are the main objectives which we will be covering, which I will be covering in the entire lesson. So in this video, I will be mainly explaining about the neural system. So here in this slide, you can observe when a small sugar cube is kept, we will be observing the ants immediately moving towards the cube. So here also we can observe there is involvement of the olfactory organs which smells the sweet smell and immediately makes the ants to move towards the sweet. Okay. And here in this slide you can observe. So the elephant, when it hears, even it is a baby, it knows when a vehicle is coming, I have to run fast. Okay. Means there is a coordination between the ears and its brain and its legs, which is making it to escape from the van. Okay. So now we will be discussing about the neural system in the lower organism. So when we see this neural system in the lower organisms like Hydra, mainly the Hydra contains the nerve cells which forms the nerve net. Means there will be highly specialized cells which are necessary for the touch and even for the chemical detection. So there are network of the neurons, which we call it as nerve net. It is in the case of Hydra. Okay. And in the case of another organisms like planarians, there are also some organs like eye spot. Okay. And there is an associated neuron and even a nerve card, which will be ladder like. Okay. Which will be ladder like. which helps in the sending the impulses from one part of the animal to the other. Okay, it is a neural system in the case of planarians, that is flatworm, where the nervous system is not fully developed, in the case of the higher organisms. And in the case of that is starfishes, there are the things which are called as nerve nets. Okay, and these nerve nets will be sending the radial nerves to each arm, which helps in the sending the means which helps in the carrying the impulses throughout the body of the starfish. But here there is no brain is present, but these starfishes can detect the light with the help of this nerve ring as well as nerve net. So let us take a small concept test to know what we have discussed. So here, the first question is, the neural system of all the animals is composed of highly specialized cells, which are called as, everybody can tell what is the answer? It is neuron. Okay, nephron is the functional unit of the excretory system. Alveoli are present in the lungs, and the vacuoles. These are the cavities which are present in the cells. And we have studied just before that the neurons are the functional units of the nervous system. So the answer is neuron. Okay. So now we will discuss about the neural system in the higher organisms. When we see the nervous system of the higher organisms, that is vertebrates, mainly it contains brain and the spinal cord. So from where the nerves will be arising, we can say that the nervous system is more complex and developed in the case of the higher organisms like vertebrates. And here we can see the presence of ganglion as well as the nervous tissue. So what is meant by ganglion? It is a group of collection of the neural bodies or nerve cells bodies. Okay, the ganglion is a group or collection of the nerve cell bodies. Okay, again we will take a small concept test. Okay, the nervous system of the humans consists of, so just now I have told what are the things which are present in the nervous system of the humans. It contains brain, spinal cord, ganglia, all the above. So the answer is all the above. Okay. So let us summarize up to know what we have discussed. So I have told you there is coordination between the different organs present in our body. So now what is meant by coordination? It is a process through which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of one another. So we have observed in each and every side, there are different organs which are complementing or interacting or interacting the functions of one another, which is making that animal to do that particular action. So coordination is a process through which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of one another. So when we see the neural system of all the animals, it is composed of highly specialized cells, which are called as neurons. So these neurons can detect, receive, and transmit different kinds of stimuli. Okay. The neural organization in the case of lower invertebrates, we have seen in the case of Hydra, it is very simple. It contains only network of neurons. So even this Hydra have the specialized cells which helps for touch and even for the chemical detection. Okay. So in the case of planarians, that is platform, they have the net which is called as nerve net, and these are connected by the long nerve cords, and there are also specialized eye spots which are sensitive to the light. And the nervous system of the starfish, when we see, it is also very simple. And it is characterized by a nerve ring that surrounds the mouth. Means around the mouth, the nerve ring will be present. And from the nerve ring, the radial nerves will be going to each arm, which helps in the sending of the impulses. In the case of starfishes, there is no brain present. Okay, in the case of starfish. Whereas in the case of vertebrates, we have seen there is well-developed nervous system which contains brain as well as spinal cord and even ganglia. And what is meant by ganglia? The mass of nerve tissue and a group of nerve cell bodies, especially in the nerve cell external to the brain or spinal cord, is a ganglia. Means these ganglia are the mass of group of nerve cell bodies, okay, which are external to the brain or spinal cord, we call it as ganglia. So we will see human neural system. So let us take a small concept test before that. So the first question is a group of nerve cell bodies. Okay. The group of nerve cell bodies are called, so just now we have discussed group of nerve cell bodies are called ganglia. Okay. So the answer is ganglia. So next question, the process by which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of one another. So the answer is coordination. Yes. Hydra is composed of network of neuron, nerve card, ganglion, associated neuron. So what is the correct answer? From our before slides, we can say it is network of neuron. So the fourth question is neuron can detect. So what it can detect? It can detect stimuli, ganglion, synapse, impulse. So neuron can detect, the correct answer is stimuli. Okay. So neuron is necessary for transmitting the impulses. But what it can detect? It can detect the stimuli. Okay. Then the fifth question is, starfish does not have brain, spinal cord, both A and B, no net. So what it does not have? Brain as well as spinal cord. Okay. So the correct answer is both A and B. Okay. Yes. All our answers are correct. Okay. So now when we see a computer, what it contains? It contains monitor, it contains mouse, it contains keypad, and it contains even printer, and even there is CPU. So all the things are necessary for performing a particular function which is coming out from the computer. Similarly, when we see the nervous system of the human beings, we will be studying under two headings. That is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. First, we will be discussing about central nervous system. So, when we see the central nervous system, mainly the central nervous system contains brain. Okay. So, the brain is the command and control system. So, where the brain is present? It is present inside the cranium, which is the brain box. And the central nervous system also contains the spinal cord. So, the central nervous system mainly contains brain as well as spinal cord. And the brain is present. We know the brain is present inside the brain box, which we call it as cranium, which is skull. Okay. Now, so all these actions, when we are hungry, is the thing which is making us to feel we are hungry or thirst. And when we are moving, when we are playing, or when we are thinking, when we will see coordination or interactions of different organs present in our body. Here also we can observe our brain is sending the messages or impulses, and those organs are receiving the impulses as well as transmitting the impulses for the particular actions for the receptor organs. So there is so much coordination in our nervous system. Yes. Now, when we see the brain, we know that the brain is present inside the cranium, which is nothing but our brain box. When we see the layers of the cranium contains three layers, which we call it as meninges. So what are the three meninges? There is outer dura mater, the inner layer, which we call it as pia mater. We can see the outer layer, which is called as dura mater, and the inner layer, which we call it as pia mater. And there is a middle layer, which we call it as arachnoid membrane or arachnoid space. The space we call it as arachnoid space, which is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, which helps the brain, which protects the brain from the shocks. Okay, so what are the meninges which are present in the brain? They are dura mater, which is outer layer, and pia mater, which is the inner layer. So the brain contains two meninges. One is dura mater and the another is pia mater. Okay. Now, so it is the arachnoid space So this is the outer layer, which is dura mater, and the middle arachnoid matter, and the innermost layer is called as pia mater. These are the meninges which are present in the brain. So let us take again a small concept test. So the first question is, the cranial meninges consists of how many layers? It contains, so the options are 2, 4, 3, 1. Actually, there are two layers, that is outer dura mater and the inner pia mater. So in between those two, there is present the another layer which is called as arachnoid membrane. So how many cranial meninges? That is 3. That is dura mater, arachnoid and pia mater. So there are two meninges, that is dura mater as well as pia mater. How many layers are present in the meninges? There are 3. That is dura mater, arachnoid membrane as well as pia mater. So the correct answer for this is 3. So now let us discuss about peripheral nervous system. So we know the brain is the main processing and information center. So it makes us to do, it sends the messages to the different parts of the body. That is, it sends the information from the, means the brain sends the information through the nerves to the different parts of our body. So how it has to send? To the nerves. So what is peripheral nervous system? How can we define? It comprises of the nerves of the body associated or coming from the brain and the spinal cord to the different parts of the body. Means the peripheral nervous system comprises of all the nerves of the body which are associated with the central nervous system. Okay. So this peripheral nervous system contains the nerves of the body associated with the central nervous system. Okay. So when we see the peripheral nervous system, so the nerves will arise from the brain as well as spinal cord. So the nerves which are arising from the brain, we call them as cranial nerves, and the nerves which arises from the spinal cord, we call it as spinal nerves. We will see 12 pairs of the cranial nerves, and there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves which carries the information from the brain to the different parts and from different parts to the brain. Okay. So when we see the peripheral nervous system, so this peripheral nervous system is divided into 3 parts. Okay. So one is somatic nervous system and the another is autonomic nervous system. And there is another nervous system which is also called as visceral nervous system. So first we will discuss about somatic nervous system. Mainly the somatic nervous system is under the control of the central nervous system. Means it is under the control of brain. So here, this somatic nervous system is again divided into cranial nerves as well as spinal nerves. We can say that the somatic nervous system contains cranial nerves as well as spinal nerves, and it is under the full control of the brain. Let's coming to the autonomic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system is again divided into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So it is not under the control of brain. It is involuntary in action. Means there are some actions if we observe in our day-to-day life which will be involuntary. Means our brain will not sense the messages to do that particular action. So those actions will be done by themselves, means which are involuntary. So which will be coming under autonomic nervous system. So it is again divided into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Depending upon which type of the action it is again divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay. So now again coming to the central nervous system. We know that the central nervous system only sends the messages to all the nerves which are present in our body to do particular action. Even it sends the messages to even the involuntary organs also sometimes. Okay. But sometimes if we observe the beating of the heart, okay, the respiratory rate, and even the dilation of the pupil of the eye are involuntary in actions. But again, it is indirectly sent, means the message is sent to the brain, but the action is done involuntarily. Okay. They are done autonomously. So coming to the peripheral nervous system, that is autonomic nervous system, that is, it is again divided into sympathetic as parasympathetic. So sympathetic nervous system, normally causes the excited conditions. Means sympathetic nervous system, we can observe the constriction of arteries, the pupil dilates, means when we are excited, when we are tensed. So in such situation, our sympathetic nervous system acts. And when we are in a relaxed situation, the arteries again dilate, pupil again constrict. For example, if we see a tiger suddenly, without our knowledge, there are some actions which will be happening. So all these are coming under autonomic nervous system. So which comes under sympathetic nervous system? Immediately when we see a tiger, so some actions will do according to the action of the means according to the impulses sent by the brain. Without our knowledge, our heart beats faster. Without our knowledge, our pupil dilates. Yes, or not only tiger. When we are angry, what happens? Our heart beats faster, our pupil dilates, our skin becomes red. Yes, so many things are, and even the hairs which are present on our skin rises. So all these are excited conditions which are linked to one another, but all these are involuntary. They are done by themselves. Okay, all these are coming under the sympathetic nervous system. How much time this tension will be? Later again, our anger decreases slowly after half an hour or maybe after 1 hour. Again, we will come to our normal conditions. Again, what happens? Again, everything comes to normal. Our heart again relaxes. Yes, arteries dilate. Pupil, the pupil constricts. And the hairs again come back to the normal condition. Our skin becomes normal. So all these conditions, if we observe from now, when we are anger, when we are sad, so all those actions when we are anger or when we are shouting, shouting, so when we are tensed, all these come under sympathetic. The tensed condition or our anger condition, when it is coming down again the actions will be happening. That is, arteries again dilate and pupil constrict and our skin becomes normal. Everything becomes the normal condition. So it is parasympathetic nervous system. Hope you understood. Yes. So even heart rate is increased in the sympathetic nervous system. Whereas in the case of parasympathetic, the heart rate decreases. Yes. So even the central nervous system sends the information to the visceral organs, which is called as visceral nervous system. Means where the information or the impulse is sent to the nerves of the visceral organs and even the muscle fibers which are present in the visceral organs and even to the ganglia. So when we see the nerve fibers of the peripheral nervous system, there are two types of the fibers. So those are the fibers, the nerve fibers, which carry the information from the particular tissue to the central nervous system, means to the brain. Means when we touch a hot object, what signal is sent from our hand, that is skin. Skin, the information or the impulse is sent to the brain, that is central nervous system. So the information is carried from that organ or the tissue to the brain through afferent fibers. These are the fibers which are carrying the impulse to the or information to the brain, which are afferent fibers. And again, the brain sends back the impulse what to do. Okay, our brain tells take out the hand, or when we see the tiger, our eyes are telling our brain tiger is present there. Then what the brain do? Again, it sends the impulse to our legs or information to our legs, run fast. Yes. So that information which is carried from the brain to the particular organ or the particular nerve fiber is called as efferent fibers. Okay. Afferent fibers, A-F-F-E-R-E-N-T. Afferent fibers are carrying the information from the tissue or the organ to the central nervous system, whereas efferent fibers are carrying the message from the central nervous system. Yes, they are carrying the impulses from the central nervous system to the tissue or the organ to do particular action. So that is efferent fibers. Let us take a small concept test now. How many cranial and the spinal nerve do the humans have? So how many nerves, the cranial as well as spinal nerves, the humans have? There are 12 pairs of the cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Okay. So let us summarize. So the human nervous system is divided into two parts. So what are they? They are central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system includes brain, spinal cord, and it is the site of information processing and control. Okay. The brain is a central information processing organ of our body, and it acts as a command system. The human brain is protected by the skull, which we call it as cranium. Inside the skull, the brain is covered by cranial meninges, that is the layers. So the cranial meninges consists of the outer layer, which is called as dura mater, and the middle layer, which is called as arachnoid layer, and inner layer, which is called as pia mater. The peripheral nervous system contains what? It contains the nerves which are arising from the brain as well as spinal cord. The nerve fibers of the peripheral nervous system are afferent fibers as well as efferent fibers. The afferent fibers transmit the impulses from the tissues to the central nervous system, whereas efferent fibers transmit the impulses from the central nervous system to the particular organ. Okay. The peripheral nervous system again is divided into somatic as well as autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system relays impulses from the central nervous system to the skeletal muscles. So this is a summary. This topic. If you understood this topic, please give a like, share and subscribe my channel, Swarna Ma'am's Biology. In my next video, I will be explaining about the structure of neuron and even the impulse transmission. Okay? Bye. See you in the next video. Thank you.